The Delta Kappa chapter of Theta Chi is one of the largest and most well-known fraternities at Ball State. Since 1951, over 1,200 men have found a home at Theta Chi. Theta Chi makes its presence known by hosting water days, participating in philanthropic events, and having a great social presence. Theta Chi is one of the most beautiful houses at Ball State University. Acquired in 2005, the house is one of the largest of any chapter at Ball State. This didn't all come overnight though. Theta Chi has roots in the Triangle Club founded in 1922 by Oscar C. Mossberg. The Triangle Club was only 1 hour short of being the first fraternity at Ball State, and was the first fraternity on campus to have a house. In 1950, Triangle Club petitioned to become a chapter of Theta Chi fraternity. The chapter was installed on January 20th, 1951. Theta Chi quickly became a force at Ball State Teachers College.
The guys that were involved in campus activity and the guys with cool guys were Theta Chi's. Is this big family that you became a part of?
Theta Chi was a pretty well-rounded fraternity. There was people, there was president of the student council, you had football players, basketball players, wrestlers. You had different people with different interests, but they all came together for Theta Chi.
For the first few years of Delta Kappa's existence, they had no fraternity house.
We talked about a house, how great it would be to live in a house, but there just weren't any houses available.
By the mid-50s, Theta Chi was the largest fraternity at Ball State and was able to purchase a house at 312 North College. The 60s marked the beginning of many Delta Kappa traditions, including the infamous red coats.
On Monday nights, we had no place to meet. So again, the school would provide us with a room. It was on the other side of this campus. And then at the end of the meeting, we'd walk back to the student center, and there would be like 75, 80 guys with red coats on walking back.
When I was an undergraduate, we had a St. Bernard ox, and it was a lot of fun, and it was a great way to meet girls, is to walk that dog across campus, and I enjoyed getting to take care of the dog.
In the spring of the year, we had, the fall, when everybody come back, we would sponsor a watermelon fest where all the kids could come. We had basically a watermelon party. The homecoming, we would make a float. It was quite a project. The last week it was always where you'd work all night to try to get it ready for the homecoming parade.
And also was the tradition was we wore a pledge beanie, which I hated. It was like a little Jewish yarmulke, the way it fit on the back of your head with a little short bill. And gosh, I was so glad not to have to wear that hat anymore.
But the chapter soon faced its biggest challenge yet.
There was always the threat that since the school owned it, that it was going to be torn down for a parking garage, which eventually it was.
Theta Chi was forced to move to 812 Riverside.
The house at 812 Riverside was never meant to be a fraternity house. It had dormers upstairs that the whole house itself could hold 19 guys, and how they did that I still haven't figured it out. The water tank fell through the floor. They decided the termites wouldn't let us stay there anymore, so they shut the house down. At that time, they told us that they were going to build a new house and that the lot next to us was where they were going to build it, and it was still on stream.
There was the hope for a house. It was something to build towards.
But that new house never materialized, so Theta Chi was forced to move again.
We left the house, went to Hearst Hall, basically pledged 10 guys out of Hearst Hall and became the Magnificent 10. I was their pledge marshal. We grew from 7 guys to 17 all of a sudden.
Theta Chi would soon make the move to 101 North Calvert.
That became our de facto unofficial, the letter shall not be out front, fraternity house. It was our home.
In the midst of turmoil, the chapter kept many traditions alive.
There's a little brown jug that sits there, and it's near and dear to my heart because it came from my father's garage. That was a traveling trophy between us and Theta Chi for a flag football game we had once a year. And we used to have a big fundraiser called Ox Roast, which we would go down and use the Newman Center's kitchen and their big hall that was down below us.
The early 80s almost spelled doom for Delta Kappa. Only one active member remained in the chapter.
Tony Hughes was the active, but there was a lot of recent alumni that were still around. After I completed pledgeship, there was a total of 5 of us.
Then came another resurgence.
There was a group of guys, GDIs, goddamn independents. They didn't want anything to do with what they perceived at that time as the Greek life. And when they joined, their pledge class name was the Magnificent Double Dozen. That took us from 5 people to 30.
But Theta Chi again had issues with its house.
The house, when I first joined, was at 101 Calvert. It was a dump. It was not a great place.
Delta Kappa again made a move. This time it was to 401 Calvert.
That was a really good house. There's only 3 rooms. There's only 5 guys that lived there, 2 doubles and a single.
Theta Chi gradually grew through the 80s into the 90s.
The chapter was at 45 men, and I had actually joined with my pledge class with 31 individuals, which at the time was the largest pledge class in over 25 years for Delta Kappa chapter. So that actually bumped us up into the 70s, and we topped out at low 80s the next semester.
But by the mid-90s, 401 Calvert had seen better days.
I can candidly say 401 wasn't our most exotic or glamorous location. However, it was still considered our home. It was in slight disrepair. I remember the basement would flood about once a month.
The 90s brought a new tradition to Theta Chi, water days.
We held it usually the first or second weekend back in the fall semester. All the sororities would sign up for games and different water balloon toss activities, and we would have slip and slides, giant inflatable games. It was really just an opportunity for us to welcome all of our brothers as well as the campus back to school after a long summer away.
In 2000, Delta Kappa made yet another move.
It was the first house that Theta Chi had had on Riverside Avenue in a long time, but it was rather small and run down.
There was just a few select brothers that were actually able to live there because there was only a few rooms in the house.
But with the move came problems that, fortunately, soon would be resolved.
We were struggling. We were in debt, and we were keeping above water, but just barely. Then we decided to start working at the Indy 500 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway to raise some money for the chapter. The chapter did a total turnaround, and because of that, we were able to make the move from the little house at 1111 to the mansion at 1100. There's always something to do, whether it's stand outside on the front porch or go downstairs and play pool or watch a movie on the big screen.
It was a breath of fresh air for not just the undergraduates, but for all the past alumni. They wanted to be back on Riverside. They wanted to have a nice house. We've gone 55 years of not having a real nice house to call home away from home. And that's what this house has provided for us.
With the chapter's resurgence, it began to bring back traditions that had fallen by the wayside.
Water days hadn't been done in several years, I believe 5, and we finally were able to get enough guys together and pull it off this past year.
We raised money for Riley Children's Hospital. That went over really well. There was a lot of good feedback from that, and we're really excited for this upcoming year to be able to do that again.
And with water days back, the chapter dug even deeper and brought back the red coats. The men of Theta Chi are dedicated to see the light of Theta Chi remains bright for years to come.
It just made college life better.
I can honestly say that today I am better because of Theta Chi.
You've got a lot of people who go into fraternities just looking to drink, and if they do that, they miss the whole point of being in a fraternity. It is to extend a helping hand to all who seek it.